Hello, and welcome to this video on how to supervise postgraduate dissertation students. As a supervisor, you have an important role in guiding and supporting your students throughout their research project. In this video, we will cover some tips and best practices for effective supervision based on the 4 stages of the supervision cycle: initiation, implementation, completion, and evaluation. Okay, let's get on with this video. Initiation. The first stage is initiation, where you need to establish a good working relationship with your student. This means communicating clearly and regularly about the expectations, roles, and responsibilities of both parties. For example, you can use a supervision agreement form to document the agreed terms and conditions of the supervision process. And the agreement can be in a formal or informal form. You should also discuss learning objectives, outcomes, and assessment criteria of the project and agree on a supervision plan that outlines the frequency and format of meetings, feedback, and progress reports. For example, you can use a Gantt chart to schedule the main tasks and milestones of the project. I'll talk about scheduling the main tasks and milestones of a project in another video. If the student is carrying out a dissertation topic that was designed or put forward by yourself, then you need to explain the context of the topic so that the student can get into what you're trying to do and also to follow the scope of your project topic. If the student is coming up with a dissertation topic of their own, you can help to facilitate this by helping them brainstorm potential topics and research questions based on their background and motivation. The second stage is implementation, where you need to provide advice to your student plans on how to manage their project. This involves you providing advice and guidance to the students on choosing a suitable topic, formulating the research question, designing a methodology, conducting their literature review, and collecting and analyzing data, and finally writing up their findings. For example, you can help them refine their research question by using the PICO framework: population, intervention, comparison, and outcome. The PICO framework is more suitable for controlled trials. If the dissertation topic is a non-controlled trial or a qualitative research, a more suitable framework that you can use would be PEO: population, environment, and outcome. If you're interested in finding out more about these frameworks formulating research questions, there are some links to the PICO and PEO frameworks. You should also help guide students with any challenges or difficulties that may arise during the research process, such as ethical issues, data problems, time management issues, or sometimes personal issues. For example, you can guide them on applying for ethical approval if their research involves human participants or sensitive data. If you're unfamiliar or require help yourself on any of these issues, a good source of advice will be other more experienced dissertation supervisors or the module leader. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and you don't have to provide students with answers straight away. Tell them that you go away and find out more information before getting back to them at a later stage. The third stage is completion, where you need to prepare your student for the final stages of their project. This includes providing feedback on improving their writing for each of the sections. That's the introduction, methods, results, and discussion sections. You should also ensure that the student's writing meets the academic standards and requirements of the program or module. For example, you should point out to students if they're having issues with spelling, grammar, formatting, referencing, and plagiarism errors. You can provide some advice on these issues or refer them on to appropriate services within the university if those are available. Something else to add is that you shouldn't be only reading the student's draft towards the end of the process. These drafts should be timed according to the stage of the project where the student is at. For example, usually the first draft you should be receiving will be the introduction and methods section. This allows you to understand what the student is proposing to do and whether the research question is adequately justified by the background and past literature. If a student is failing a particular section or all sections of the dissertation, you should be honest and feed this back to them. This enables the student to identify this section to work on. This will also mean that you'll need to provide specific guidance on what and how they can improve and what they can improve on. The most frustrating thing that a student may feel is that their supervisor is just giving vague feedback with no concrete steps on what they should be doing to improve their writing. The fourth stage is evaluation, where you need to celebrate your students' achievements and provide them with further, perhaps career advice and guidance. For example, you can congratulate your student on completing their project by sending them a simple congratulatory email. You should also reflect on your own supervision practice and identify areas for improvement. For example, you can use a SWOT analysis to analyze and assess your own strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats as a supervisor. You should solicit feedback from your student on their satisfaction with the supervision process and outcome. For example, you can use a questionnaire or an interview to collect their opinions and suggestions. You should also acknowledge your own learning and development as a supervisor. For example, you can record and review your supervision activities and achievements in a portfolio or a logbook. Now, these are just some key aspects of supervising postgraduate dissertation students. Remember that supervision is a collaborative and rewarding process that can benefit both you and your student. So thank you for watching this video and good luck with your supervision.